Hey guys, so it is a bright, windy day here in Costa Rica, and as you can tell by the shadows over my head, the laundry is drying. I thought I'd take a second though to show you guys what I really feel is pretty much the ultimate collection of mods for my Polish bread bag. Uh, I bought two bags 3 years ago, one for me, one for my son. His hasn't been modded at all, whereas mine, I think, is got about all the mods I'm going to put to it. And I'm looking forward to showing that to you. But first, I want to go over kind of what the Polish bread bag is. Um, it was designed to carry sea rations and your cooking kit for the Polish infantry soldiers back in the 80s. And I think they issued it all the way past the 2000s. Um, it's a canvas bag. The body is a fairly loose canvas, and it's got some metal clasps, fastening systems, but there's really not a whole lot to it. It's got two outside pockets and four inside pockets, and the main inside pocket you can separate into two. It separates into two different areas. I'm assuming one area is for your food and the other area is for your mess kit. But anyway, what I'm going to do is show you guys first off what one of the original ones look like unmodded, and then we'll get into my modifications. The reason why I chose the Polish bread bag over all the other surplus stuff that's out there was a mix between, it was a good price, fairly cheap, so I don't feel bad modifying it, and it has really good bones. It's just well built. So anyway, let's get on and I'll show you what an actual Polish bread bag looks like without the modifications. All right, here's my son's bread bag. And you guys, I'm sure, have seen these before. It's got the quick release here and here for the the front flap there. Just pull that through, open it up, and here are the two outside pockets, and you can see by the seams about how far they go down. This is 9 inches this way, 11 inches this way, and about 4 inches deep right there. There's a strap here that basically keeps this front from sagging down. It's a very loose canvas, like I said before. Actually, I can hold this up and I bet you, yeah, you guys can see the sunshine through that. So like I said, good bones, but it's not a thick canvas. It's not stiff. It's not going to hold its shape. And that's probably why they put this here. All the little attachments like this right here, these actually have little rolling sections. They're all, I think, out of aluminum. They don't seem to react to a compass. I'm going to flip that over so I can open this up. One thing I do want to get into, some folks understandably have had some issues opening, or I should say closing, their bag. And I was watching a YouTube video the other day, and I've got to post this guy's a link. Matter of fact, I'm going to make myself do it. Look up here somewhere. There will be either a link or something where I can show you what the modifications this guy did. Anyway, I understood the reasoning behind it. You get your little part right there. It sticks up. You take the strap and you can see kind of how people struggle with this, especially if it's under tension. Run that through there. All right. The nice thing about this, when there's pressure on the bag, when it's fairly full, this gets pushed up against the canvas and it locks it off really well. I've never had it open up when I didn't want it But as you saw, it can be a little bit of a pain to get that piece in place. So what this guy showed, and it was so simple, oh my goodness, but just genius. Anyway, take, for anybody else who's got one, take the end, run it through that, run it through the top one right here, pull that down, flip it back over. I'm going to see if I can do this one-handed. Oh, we'll see. Pop, and there it is. Done. There's enough space in this little aluminum wire to get the roller and the canvas on both sides through. Super easy. So anyway, yeah, check out that guy's video. He's got some good stuff. All right, let's open this up. You guys already saw these two pouches right here. Looking from the top, you've got two sections, here and here, separated by this. I'm assuming the mess kit went over here and the food went over there. I don't know for sure. Just a guess. But on this side, you've got this nice little pouch down here with a flap. Kind of awkward. Little button loop. And it's those kind of buttons right there, aluminum. And that little pouch goes right to there. You guys can see that. Over here, we've got two more little pouches. There and there. They've also got flaps and buttons. And you can tell that they don't go down very far. Maybe 4 inches. However, on this side, on that corner, is another flap, but it runs all the way down, not quite, but basically to the bottom of the bag. So this one, maybe that held your cutlery. Not positive on that. And you can put spices and other small stuff, maybe coffee up in there. Now the back of the bag is, I think, is kind of interesting. You've got a top seam right here, but they didn't connect the snaps to the top seam, which is odd to me because you would think they'd want that pulled, but they didn't. It's back here. You've got a grab handle, and we're going to flip this down. And this is actually fairly ingenious. You can see the sewing where the two little inside pouches were and where the separator is right there. The grab handle, the fabric comes down, back up, and sewed in place, and then comes down through these two little fasteners, I guess you'd call them, tabs. Slides through the tabs, goes all the way down underneath where you got this little adjuster, and these are kind of a pain. Take that canvas all the way out. It runs through, and then you can put something on the bottom. I'm not quite sure what they were using it for, but I would use it for like a poncho line or something like that, and tighten it up. And then on either side of this is your snap for your sling. This gives you some options because you don't have to run it through both. You could just run it through one. Matter of fact, if you really want to, you wouldn't have to run through it all. So depending on the gear that maybe you wanted to put on the back of this, you could adjust that sizing. So that's a pretty cool design feature, I think. And again, canvas all the way around. The edges are sewn with this little canvas strip on the outside of that. And that's basically it. That's your standard issue bag. These little little tighteners down here on the same piece of fabric that runs right up all the way to here. So it's all kind of one piece. All right, so there's the basic. Now I'm going to show you the modified. And there you go. This is my modified version of Polish bread bag. It started out exactly the same as this one down here, which I'm going to slide back like that. Let's go over it. So first off, if you guys can see my little leather patch here, that's just me goofing around. I love Buck off Ice Age, and I love trackers. So Buck with a tracker. You'll notice there's several different places here where I've put leather, and one of the first two are these tabs right there. I wanted to be able to pull or open these out easy, so that tab sticks up just a little bit farther so you can grab it and pull on both sides. Easily done. Lift that up. I was worried about wearing through the fabric through here. Basically that. I didn't trust it. I have a tendency to break gear. So anyway, what I did was I took a thin strip of leather and just covered it front and back. So that leather covers that on both sides. So that's not going to give anytime soon. And come up over here. I did the same thing all the way down to there. You guys can see. You guys can see how that's sewn. So leather covers that and that. I'm not going to pull anything loose. Up on top, you guys will see this pouch here that I've sewn in. That's Condura. It's off an old 511 push pack that I used for years. Everything works fine on it. I use that to hold 550 cord. It holds quite a bit, as you can imagine. And it gives me an easy access to cordage, which can be handy. All right, let's look under the flap. The patch is from the TV show Firefly. That is Serenity, because I am a nerd or a geek or however they describe those things anymore. The gentleman who I explained had such a great idea on making it easy to lock one of these things into place. If you keep watching that same video, he did this mod, and it's just genius because the this little aluminum piece or whatever like that is a pain to deal with, and I don't want to have to unthread it and rethread it every single time I want to open this up all the way. So by putting a clip there, that is done. And again, easy to attach. You guys might notice that my canvas looks a little bit different than my son's. That's because this is waxed. I used my homemade wax blend of coconut oil, paraffin, and beeswax to repel water and rain and things like that. Also to kind of protect the canvas. Would also work as a good fire starter if I needed to. There. Going onto the strap. I've got a little button compass, and so far it's held fairly accurate. This seemed like a good place to put it. So I got my little button compass up there. This, as you guys can see, this leather all the way around is a drawstring. I did not want to have to put flaps on either side of this because this is such a loose bag. It's easy for the edges to open up and stuff to spill out. So what I did was I put I took thin pig suede, and pig suede has a lot of strength, and so I sewed the pig suede over the outside edge like that, along with some 550 cord, securing it one end here and the other end over there. And what happens is, you guys can see I got a little tensioner right there. I can grab both of those pieces of 550 cord here and here, and when I pull them, this whole thing cinches up. Works really, really good, and I don't have to worry about something coming out of the edge anymore. Or if it's raining, I know that my edge will be covered by the flap from the tension there. And to undo it, all I have to do is push on the little button and pull. Works really, really well. If you guys remember, there was 2 pouches over here on the original. I took those off because I didn't really see any use in them. Same with this side. I took that small pouch out. I just couldn't think of a reason why I would need it there. Added a keychain holder for my either my moped keys or not moped, yeah, moped keys or whatever I need. I can clip right there. On this side and on this side, I put some molly. That way I can attach things like my canteen holder if I want to, or just a grab bag, or in this case, to hold my gloves, I've got a little carabiner there. It has become very handy. So, pouch on top, we've gone through all this, the sides here and here. The bottom is, of course, I kept the 2 straps here. I'm not a huge fan of this system, but it works, so I'm keeping that as is. But on the same video of the guy I've mentioned, which I'm going to have a link on, he had this other modification. His was a little bit different than mine, but basically I attached the strap to the side there. Same thing to the other side. Buckle in the middle with a bunch of extra. So whenever, and you guys will see this in a minute, whenever I add my poncho and my like emergency sleeping bag, I can shove those back there, and it's attached front, back, and to the side. It's not going anywhere. So that's another really, really good modification that I completely ripped off of him because it was a great idea. Let's go to the back. Everything here is pretty much the same. I've made a set pad that I slide in between here and here, so I don't, that's why this is not going through this tab. The other thing I did, if you guys noticed, okay, you see how the original goes straight up? I didn't like that. I don't think that's ergonomically correct. Ergonomically? That's a big word for me. Anyway, I didn't like it. So I took them off and then reset them at a more natural angle. And I'm really happy how that's turned out. Also, the little handle, perfectly functional and it's fine. But I wanted to have something I can kind of grab a hold of a little easier, so I put some leather on it. And speaking of leather, this corner and this corner on mine seemed to get the most abuse and was wearing out. I was actually wearing through this fabric. So I added leather here and here to protect that. And as you guys, I'm sure have already noticed, I added, the original one doesn't have tabs down here. I added a tab on this corner and on this corner. Now, what that allows me to do, all right, let's talk about the strap. It's feeding through there. This is just regular 2-inch black nylon, and I salvaged this pad off of some other satchel we had. I don't really remember what it was, but it fit. This is all one piece. I just used 2 plastic buckles, secured one end, ran it all the way up through and around, back down through the pad, ending it down here. And this, the way I've got it set up right now, it's like a sling bag. It kind of rides that way. Really, really comfortable. More comfortable than, let's say, your standard like satchel or haversack. This, I don't know, is that a 45-degree angle come off both sides? Just fits better. It rides better. So I'm going to stick with that for a while. The reason why I've got all that nylon there, this can be set up like a satchel, like a normal satchel. Run it through this and this one, up and around, and back down through here. It only take a couple minutes. You can also run it as a backpack. Just secure the bottom here, run it through just like you would the satchel, secure the bottom here, and then pull the excess off of each side. You guys have seen me do this before, and you can turn it into a functioning backpack. So depending on the weight or how much you're carrying, what other gear you might have on, you can adjust this to whatever is the most comfortable for you. So whether it's satchel, sling, or backpack mode, you can do every one. Also, this fits on my Romanian rucksack. It clips in here, here, and then these two clip in at the bottom on the main flap of my Romanian rucksack. And again, I've got videos on that. So if I don't want to carry my satchel while I've got my backpack, I can put the satchel on the flap. All right, here is the gear that I'm going to be putting in the bag. I just want you guys to see everything ahead of time so you know what's actually in there. Starting with the cooking gear, this is the lid that goes on my canteen cup. Or actually, my canteen cup, the stew pot, whatever it takes. Put that down. So that lid fits on there. This is off of my Kelly kettle setup, and I've been using that for baking bread, doing like a Bannock fry bake kind of thing. Works really well. Set that up there. And this is my Kelly kettle cup with the silicone lip. It keeps your lip from getting burned. I carry it as well. Simple spoon. Is not titanium or unobtainium or whatever obtainiums people are using now. It's just a cheap spoon that I drilled a hole through, put some notches in, and then sharpened one little edge that in a pinch you could use that to cut a stubborn piece of meat. This is the pot lifter, cap lifter, that comes with the system for my canteen. My stainless steel canteen is actually in the refrigerator right now because I keep it full of water all the time to drink. This works really, really good. What you're seeing here is just a little piece of stainless steel tubing. I got tired of this thing popping open all the time in my bag. So that little piece of tubing right there solves that problem. So now you can use it to lift stuff up nice and easy. And whenever you're done, just put it back together with that and it's out of the way. All right, so this is a stainless steel canteen that I've been using for the last couple of years. It's got a lot of condensation on it because it spends most of its life in the refrigerator full of cold water for me. Works really good, doesn't leak. The only thing I replaced was the string or whatever they had on the original model. I just put 550 cord there, and it works a treat. Now, for fire making in this kit, I've got one of the little extendable straws, which works wonderfully. Fat wood, ferro rod, homemade fire tab, which is nothing but cotton and paraffin wax, works for about 7 minutes. I also carry a lighter. It's got some nice nylon waxed string around it and duct tape. Headlamp, very, very handy to have. And right here is, this is leather. It's for knife maintenance. Leather with rouge. And on the inside of this is a white ceramic rod. If I can get that to come out, there we go. So you can strop the edge after you get through hitting it with the white ceramic for a little bit of knife maintenance. And then the leather protects the ceramic from getting beat up too much. And right here is my fishing kit. Spider wire. When you pull this off, there's a hole on the inside, and it's got a bunch of needles and sinkers and things like that. Made that years ago out of an old oak branch. This is my salt and pepper container. You guys saw it on a previous video. Salt, pepper, eucalyptus branch, and basically drilled 2 holes on either side. Made a couple plugs to the top, and that holds my salt and pepper. All this 550 cord you see is going to be put in the top pocket. I guess this is considered old school now, this knotting it up like this. I learned it in the Army. I've never had 550 cord get tangled up whenever I did this. You can just keep it in a wad like that, and if you need it, just grab the end, and it always pulls free, no problem. So that's the way I store it. Life straw, just in case. I got my little saw with me. Swiss Army knife in a Kydex sheath that my dad actually won that Kydex sheath on a raffle from Hood's Woods. Shout out to the old Hood's Woods. And I also keep a whistle on here that we got from Tops. Works really, really well. I can whistle a lot longer and I can yell. Below here is cutting pad for food prep, things like that. Got a little leather pouch I made out of pig suede. Waxed. Works really well. This is my coffee pouch because you can't go anywhere without coffee. This bag and this bag you saw the other day is made from an old Army poncho and emergency orange fabric, just as a little ditty bag. This is my first aid kit, my first aid bag and the bag is from Tough Possum. Obviously, the inside is a tourniquet, Israeli bandage, several different things that I keep just in case of boo-boos. And my Tough Possum survival scarf, always. Just a kind of a sigil piece of gear. A couple things that I can add on to this is my this is, I think, 511 gear, and it's just a drop pouch. I can put that on the molly on one side. This pouch has my poncho and emergency sleeping bag because, I mean, I live in the tropics. It doesn't get that cold. And over there is my canteen holder. I think this is from Camelback. Had it for years, and it will attach to the side of the bag as well on the molly, just in case I need the extra space and I don't want to carry my canteen inside the satchel itself. Two more items. Got a lot of stuff here. Okay. Cheap Walmart $10 leather gloves that I've waxed, and they work wonderfully. And the last thing is something I came up with the other day. I'm going to have to clear a few things away so you guys can see what this is all about. All right, I'm a big fan of sitting pads, and I wanted to have a sitting pad that I could use to hold gear, especially my knife, if I didn't want to carry it in the shoulder holster. So I took old Army poncho that I've used for a couple other projects, some foam, cheap, and made this. The foam's on the inside, got the Army poncho material on the outside, sewn all the way around and down the middle. What you see here is 1-inch nylon webbing. The webbing around the edges, there's actually 3 sections that 550 cord or anything else can hook through. This is just using a little S-beaner. 1, 2, 3, and then down the center, left, right, and again on the other side, 1, 2, and 3 back here. So with each side, you've got 16 contacts. So 16 there, 16 there, and then if you go around the outside edge, that's 8 more. So you have actually 40 different loops that you can use to attach different gear and things like that. I'm going to show you how I set it up with the Woodsman. All right. S-beaner hooked here and here. Now there's a lot of different ways you could do this. You can do cross sections of 550 cord, left, right, left. You can do it over just a half, do it over both. You could do one continuous thing to lash something in. This is just what I'm using right now for holding the Woodsman. As you guys are well aware, the Woodsman has a lock. The knife cannot come out of the sheath as long as this lock is down. There's a bar that physically prevents that. So right now I've got one piece of 550 cord all the way around it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this over, pull this tight, and it will look like this. So I pulled that tight, took the extra 550 cord, wrapped it back around here. You can see that there's another S-beaner right there. That will come in handy later. Basically, the knife is sitting inside of this little clamshell. It can't slide out either direction. However, since this is all open, it's easy to get a hold of the handle. But it's still protected and out of prying eyes. I'll show you here in a second how that fits into the satchel. When I'm not using it in this configuration, it folds out doing this one-handed, and you have a nice little sit pad once you take the knife off of it. Don't sit on the knife. I wouldn't recommend that. All right, now that I've shown you all the gear, we're going to put this entire ensemble together, and you guys can see how it turned out. All right, so here is the entire kit put together, and with all the extras. I've got the drop bag thrown onto the side. I've got the bag here at the bottom with the poncho and submersible sleeping bag, and the side container with my canteen. Just to show you guys. So that's how the bottom fits there. That bag is not going anywhere. The Molly holds this just great. And then if we look at the back, I can show you guys the pad. So I slide the sit pad / knife case right through here. This is off the back. It rides extremely comfortable. And if I set it up like this, you can see there's still full access to the sheath or to the knife itself. You grab the handle and give it a little pull. Because I used the little beaners, the little S beaners, there's a little bit of give. So you can pull that and free the locking mechanism, and you can get to the knife one-handed, no issues at all. The entire thing can't fall out because that one larger S beaner is clipped through the top there. So it's not going to slide out, and the knife's not going to slide out, but it's protected and it's out of sight. So I'm really happy with that. And so we got this here. I'm going to flip the top. The cutting board is right there in the back. I got the bag with cooking gear here. The other little stuff sacks right there. Medical kits here. Saw, life straw, little compass. And then over here, I've got the cups and the Tough Possum Gear survival scarf. And you could throw all your extra, like, there's plenty of space there to throw extra food and things like that I might want. Up front here is the Swiss Army knife, inside its Kydex case, and right there is the Tops whistle. And that's it. The last thing I want to show you guys is just how it rides. You guys have already seen plenty of satchels in their normal carry configuration and in backpack configuration, but I want you guys to see how it rides like a sling. All right, so here is the entire pack. This is full of water. I'm going to show you how that's riding. It's very comfortable. I like how it stays against the back down here. And if you guys have ever had a problem with a satchel, when you bend over, it wants to slide this way. For whatever reason, having it at that 45 from here and there seems to limit that. It doesn't want to as bad because I use my Tough Possum Gear, the Shackleton satchel, every day. That's my EDC. And it does like to slide. This doesn't seem to as bad. But it carries good. This is probably about, with water, 12 pounds of stuff. If I was going to do an all-day thing, I would change this to a backpack configuration. But that works. Now, All right, so to get a hold of the woodsman, flip it around, grab, out, put it back in, pull the lock back, drop it in, and lock it back. Tuck it back in its little bed. Good to go. Okay, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video of a little bit of the history of the Polish bread bag, what it looks like normally, and different ways you can modify it into the ultimate Polish bread bag. Anyway, I hope you guys are doing great. Stay safe, take care, and God bless.